By the end of this video tutorial, I guarantee you're going to be comfortable and confident in using Microsoft OneDrive. This OneDrive for Beginners course is obviously designed for new users of OneDrive. However, if you have been using OneDrive already, you may still find some of the content to be useful, and you might even learn something that you didn't already know. In this particular tutorial, we're going to start from the very beginning. So I'm going to explain what OneDrive is, how you can access it, and then we'll get into OneDrive. So we'll tour the interface, we'll take a look at how you can create files and folders with OneDrive, and how you can upload files and folders to your library. As well as that, we'll take a look at how you can manage those files, how you can share them with other people, and if you happen to delete them, how you can retrieve them. At some point, you're probably going to want to download and work on these files, so I'll show you how to do that. And we'll explore the Personal Vault, which is a secure area within your OneDrive library where you can store your most confidential files and pictures. Finally, we'll take a look at the OneDrive for Mac desktop app as well as the OneDrive mobile app. So if you're looking to learn how to use OneDrive, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're new to the channel, welcome along. If you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button to support the channel. And if at the end of this video you found it useful, feel free to give it a like, and of course comment below if you have any questions, queries, or if you want to provide some feedback. Now, let's begin this tutorial. So first of all, let's take a look at what OneDrive actually is. You may not be familiar with OneDrive, you may have just been told to use it, you may have just discovered it, and you may have just come here out of curiosity. But essentially OneDrive is a cloud storage solution offered by Microsoft. Now again, cloud storage is a term that we hear quite often, but not everybody knows what it actually means. Essentially what it means is you can store your files such as documents, presentations, Excel, spreadsheets, photographs on a server, and then you can access those using any device from anywhere in the world. Traditional storage methods include things like CD-ROMs, floppy disks, storing content on your computer's hard drive, and things like pen drives. Now, whilst they have served us well for many years, there can be problems with these storage methods. So for example, if you store your content on a pen drive and you go into the office or your place of study and you have forgotten to pack your pen drive with you, then you won't be able to access the content stored on it. And that works the same for laptop hard drives or computer hard drives. If you store the content on the hard drive, you need that computer with you to be able to access the content. There are other issues that are concerning people using these methods. So a pen drive can, for example, break, a hard drive can become damaged, and the files that you have stored there may not be recoverable, or you just may lose them forever. Cloud storage solutions not only allow us to access the content from any device anywhere in the world, but they're also backed up. So often files which we upload to services like OneDrive, which is a cloud storage solution, will not just be backed up on one server, it will be backed up on multiple servers. So the likelihood of you losing your data is far less than you damaging or forgetting your pen drive. So being able to access the content is incredibly useful. We can get it whenever we want from any device anywhere in the world. But there's also the added extra that it is backed up multiple times, so we hopefully aren't going to lose the files or have them damaged and not be able to open them. And that is why cloud storage solutions like OneDrive are so useful. So let's take a look now at how you can access OneDrive. Now OneDrive is available either through personal or private email accounts, or through work or university/school accounts. So OneDrive for Business is the Microsoft Enterprise version, which you would find from your employer or within an organization like a school, college, or university. And OneDrive Private is offered to individuals who have an email account through the likes of Outlook, Hotmail, or Live. Now, they're both called OneDrive, they both work in basically the same way, and there's very, very slight differences. So even if you are a OneDrive for Business user watching this tutorial, You'll still be able to apply everything you learn. It's just that some of the things might look slightly different, or for example, when we get to the sharing permissions, they may be slightly different for your organization. But generally speaking, the way that the application works is pretty much the same. Now, I have on screen an Outlook email account. This is just a test account, but I have created this, and with this email account, I can get access to OneDrive, and we're going to use this particular account for this demonstration. So I haven't spent any money, but I'm going to be able to show you how you can use OneDrive for free through your email account. Now, once you have logged into your email account, and this could be Hotmail Live or an Outlook account, you will have an app launcher button at the top left. We're going to click on that one, and we're going to go down to OneDrive. But whilst we're here, it's worth noting that through your free email account, you get access to lots of these web apps, so the web version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And I've got other tutorials on this YouTube channel covering those, so please do have a look for those. But for now, we are going to launch OneDrive from here. Now, before I delve deeper into OneDrive and show you how to use the platform, it's worth highlighting that there is an option here to buy additional storage. Because it's a cloud storage solution, you get access to 5 gigabytes of storage through your email account. Now, in the days gone by, 5 gigabytes would have been a lot of storage, but nowadays that could be a couple of high resolution or HD movies, and before you know it, that space is eaten up. If you're using it to store lots of your photographs, videos, you'll notice that the 5 gigabytes will not stretch very far. You can click on buy storage, and Microsoft gives you the option to buy a Microsoft 365 personal license for one person, which is £5.99 per month, or you can save 16% if you pay yearly at £60, and this will give you 1 terabyte of OneDrive cloud storage, but it will also give you access to the premium versions of these applications that I mentioned earlier, and those are essentially ones that you can download on your computer. So the web versions are incredibly powerful these days, but the desktop versions give you a couple of additional features and some more functionality. If you're not interested in the premium apps though, and you just want a little bit more storage than you get with your free account, you can pay £1.99 per month to sign up to OneDrive for storage only. So this gives you 100 gigabytes of storage, which is 20 times more than you would normally get, and it's only £1.99 a month. So there are a couple of options there if you want to expand the amount of storage space or perhaps access the premium apps. But for now, I'm going to close this down because we are going to focus on using the completely free version of OneDrive. So let me take you on a tour of the interface. When you first log into your OneDrive account as a brand new user, your view will pretty much look like this. So you'll see a second ago I had some folders and files in here. What I've done is I've cleared those out so that you can see exactly what it's going to look like for you as a brand new user. Let's explore the interface in a little more detail. So first of all, we've already covered the app launcher at the top. This allows you to launch any of the other web apps from the current one that you are in. This list isn't exhaustive. You can actually click on all apps and you get a full list of additional apps you can access. But for now, I'm going to close this because we're just interested in OneDrive. Next to that, there is the OneDrive text, and if at any point you want to go back to this view here, let's say for example you're in the shared folder, you can simply click on OneDrive and it will take you back to essentially the home page or the root folder for OneDrive. In the center here we have a handy search box. Now I'm going to cover this a little bit later, but the search box is a super helpful way to be able to locate files and folders within your library. At the beginning, when you're uploading content, you won't have too much potentially, so finding files might be quite easy. But as you begin to add more files and folders to your library and it grows in size, or if you upload lots of photographs for example, being able to search from here is incredibly useful. To the right of that we have the little diamond option here. This is just how you can buy additional storage and look at other plans and upgrades such as this. So we've already taken a look at that earlier. If you want to get into settings for OneDrive, you can click on the settings icon here And you can upgrade, you can change the language, but you can also go into options to find all of the different settings for your particular OneDrive library. So you can empty your recycle bin from here, you can update your account, you can have a look at any referrals that you have made if you're advertising OneDrive for other people. You can also do things like change your details for your personal vault if you need to change a mobile phone number, and you can change the Office file formats and whatnot. For now though, I'm going to close this one down, but it's worth when you get into your OneDrive account, just go through each of these to see what the settings are and set up your OneDrive library to suit your particular needs. Now, next to the cog at the top, we have this question mark. This is the help area. If you have any questions when you're using Microsoft OneDrive, you can run a search for a particular keyword or topic, and you'll be able to find help and support from the Microsoft pages. So they have some FAQs here, or frequently asked questions, you can have a look at it here, but you can also run a search from the search box here. Microsoft Search is really good. There's a lot of excellent resources in there, but for the most part, OneDrive is fairly intuitive, and hopefully from watching this tutorial, you won't need to go into the help, but it exists if you need it. Finally, you can click on your name up here to access your general settings for your email account. So you can log into other accounts from this one browser or one account. You can view your password and reset your password, and you can also log out from that area up there. If I go back to OneDrive at the top here, down the left hand side we have the different menus. So My Files is where you can access all of your files and folders. You can view any of your recently opened or edited files are uploaded from the recent area. Your Photos area takes you into library where you can access all of your photographs that you have uploaded. Shared lets you see any files that you have shared with other users, or quickly check if anyone has shared any files with you. And finally, Recycled Bin, which we'll come back to later, allows you to delete files and then retrieve them or permanently delete them from the trash can. Finally, in the center of the screen is your main OneDrive library, and that's where all of your content is uploaded to. So you'll be able to view all of the files and folders that you have created or uploaded to OneDrive within this My Files area. And then lastly, at the top here, we have some options to either create new files or folders or upload existing files and folders. And on that note, let's take a look at how we can create files and folders within our OneDrive library. As I mentioned earlier in this tutorial, our library starts life with just a personal vault. So we don't have anything else. We haven't created or uploaded any content to this. So what you see as a new user will pretty much be the same as you can see on screen for me just now. Now, when it comes to creating content, there's different things that you can do. So you can either create a folder, or from this new menu, you can actually create Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Forms. The benefit of using these options here is if you don't have the Office versions of Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, for example, installed on your computer because you maybe haven't paid for a paid account, you can still create Word documents or PowerPoint files using these web apps, and they still provide you with a lot of features and functionality that you'll be used to, and probably more than enough for the average user. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail for using these particular web apps today, but I'm going to show you in this video how you can create a new Microsoft Word document from scratch and how to save it to your OneDrive library. The same process can then be followed for the other apps here. At this level here, this My Files level, this is the root folder within your OneDrive library. So if you never create any new folders, everything will just be added to this My Files area. Now, whilst that might work quite well, the more files you add, the more difficult it can be to manage them and to find particular content. Of course, we do have the search box at the top, but I would encourage you from the outset to work with a good folder and file management structure. So for example, if you're uploading Word documents, you might want to make a folder to then put those Word documents in and have a separate folder for PowerPoint files or for Excel files. It might be that you want to work on a yearly basis, so you might want to make a new folder for the current year and then different folders for current months. You can work in any way you like, but I would definitely recommend working with a solid file structure from the outset, especially when you're starting life with a nice clean library like this. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a new folder. So I'm going to go to the New button and choose Folder. It will then ask me to give a name to the folder that I am creating. So I'm going to call this one 2022. Then I'm going to click on the Create button, and you'll see at this level here we have a new folder. Now a couple of things just to highlight at this moment in time. The three blue lines that you see next to the folder tell me that this has been recently modified. So it could have had its name changed, it could have been created, it could have been moved to this location, but that just lets you know at a glance that that file or folder has been modified. You can sort your folders or files by name in alphabetical order, so you can do A to Z or Z to A. You can also change the modified order, so you can have most recently modified at the top, or you can have the oldest modified at the top. As well as that, you can see the file size of your particular files. However, we've got a folder just now with nothing in it, hence we can't see a value here. And the key thing to note is that all of the files and folders that you create or upload to OneDrive will always be private until you share them with other users. So by default, that folder I just created is private. Nobody can see that at the moment, but in time I might decide to share that, and this private bit here will change to shared. Now we've created a 2022 folder. I want to go into that folder. So to get into it, all I do is click on it, and you'll see the breadcrumb trail now says My Files, which is the root level, and then it says, okay, we are in 2022. So at this point, I might want to make another new folder here. So I'm going to go into New, and then Folder, and I might call this one something like Admin. So let's say this is my admin folder for the year. And then I want to create another folder. Now I don't want it to be inside admin. I want it to be inside 2022. So at the same level as admin. So I'm going to go to New and Folder, and this time I'm going to call this one something like Personal. And then I'll create one more new one in here, and I'm going to call this one, I'll just call this one Tutorials. Okay, click Create. So we've got three new folders inside this 2022 folder. One for admin, one for personal, and one for tutorials. Now if I want to then create some content within one of these folders, I need to open that folder up. I can, of course, move content later on, and I'll cover that in the Managing Files and Folders section of this tutorial. But for now, I'm going to go into Tutorials, and I'm going to make one new folder in here. So I'm going to go to New, Folder, and I'm going to call this one Canva. So let's say I want to put some Canva content in here. So I'll click Create, and we have that new folder. Now at this moment in time, I need to go into this folder to be able to create content within here. So I need to open Canva up, and the breadcrumb trail tells me that I've got my root folder. We've then gone into 2022. We've gone into tutorials folder, and I am going to be creating what I'm creating inside this Canva folder. Now that's how you can create a new folder, but how do you create a file? Well, what you do is you go to New, and you choose what type of file you want to create. Now you can upload content, and we'll cover that in the next part of this video, but for now I want to create a new Word document. So as I said earlier, the benefit of using this method is that we're able to use the web app, we can access it from anywhere in the world on any device, and we don't need to have a premium version of Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365. We don't need to have the desktop app installed. We can create a Word document straight away using our completely free account. So I'm going to choose Word document here, and it's going to create a Word document in this folder. You'll notice it opens in a new tab, so we can still access OneDrive here on the left hand side, but you'll see the new folder has been created here, Canva, and there's the new file. So it's been modified recently because it's just been created, and it gets called Document 1 by default. I'm going to click on the tab here, and this is the new document. Now it might be that I'm going to use this to put text in for my new Canva course. If I want to change its title, I can either come up here and change it in here by clicking on the title and then changing it here. So I'm going to put Canva Notes and then press the Enter key, and you'll see it has updated. Now back here, it may not have updated right now, but with a quick refresh, you'll see the title will have changed. So it'll take just a little second to load, but there we are inside the Canva folder, Canva Notes. One of the big benefits of cloud storage and using these web apps is every single time you make a change, the text in the document will be saved. So I'm going to put in a little bit of text. This is a document for my new Canva course notes, something like that. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click on the cross up here to close the tab down, and my file will have saved. Now if I want to open this up and work on it, all I need to do is click on it and you will see the file will open and it will have saved my changes that I made there. Now I'm not going to go into any more detail with regards to actually working on Microsoft Word online, because I'm going to cover that in some of the other tutorials on my YouTube channel, or if you're watching this, I may have already created those. But if you go up to the file menu here, you've got various other options for doing things like saving, exporting, sharing from here. But for now, I'm going to close this down because we've just gone through the process of creating a new file using the new menu. And it's the same process if you want to create Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, forms, or a plain text document. Now that we've looked at how to create a file and a folder, let's take a look at how we can upload files and folders to our OneDrive library. It's completely possible that you might have created content on your computer's hard drive, such as files or folders, and want to upload them to your OneDrive library. And in this section of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can do that. Now actually, this is quite a good way of working because often we do have files and folders on our computers, and rather than recreating them all in OneDrive, then uploading the files to the relevant folders, we may have already structured them on our computer, and this option allows us to basically bring in the entire folder containing all of the subfolders and subfiles, or bring in individual files to our library. So you don't always need to create the content from scratch within OneDrive. So let's take a look first of all at how we can use this upload menu at the top to upload individual or multiple files. Now the key thing to remember here is when we upload or create any new content in OneDrive, it will always do so at the current folder we are in. So if I was to upload a file just now, it would upload it to this My Files level here, at the same level as this folder. But we've already created a folder for this year, so I want to go into that. And what I want to do here is I want to upload my files to a particular folder. So I'm going to go into this admin folder, and then I might make a new folder in here. So I'll go to new folder, and I'll say this is, I don't know, admin for October 22. So there we go, we've made our folder. I'm now going to go into this one, and this is the folder that I want to upload my file to. So I'm going to go to upload and then files, and then it's going to say, okay, where on my computer is that file located? So I'm going to go into desktop, and you'll see I've got a lot of different files in here. Here's a sample document that I want to upload. So if I want to upload this single document, all I do is click on it and then choose open. And as you will see, that file is going to be uploaded to my October 22 folder. It'll take just a second to appear, but it will eventually get there. Again, if I'm going to be a little bit impatient, I might give a quick refresh. You'll see the document has now arrived. But if I wanted to upload more than one document, how do I do that? Well, I'll still go to the upload menu and I'll go to files again. But this time I'm going to hold the command or control key to select more than one file. Now, if it's a long list of files, you can actually click on the first one and then hold the shift key and click on the last one. So if I wanted to select this file and all the way down to here, if I hold the shift key, I can select them all and then click open. So in this case, let's do that. So I've got a PowerPoint, a Word file, and 3 images. If I don't want the Word file to be uploaded because I've already done that one, with them all selected, I can hold Command or Control to deselect that one file. Now I'll click open, and you will see those files will be uploaded. And it tells me up here they are currently uploading. And when I click on this, it tells me the file size of the file and the progress, so we can see the progress bar. So of course, the time it takes to upload will depend on the size of the file and on your internet connection speed. So we've now uploaded these 4 items. Once again, it tells me when they were last modified. It tells me with these blue lines that these were recently uploaded. So this is how you upload individual or multiple files. If, for example, you have a folder which contains lots of subfolders and lots of files, it's more often than not better to upload that entire folder rather than recreating the folders in OneDrive and then manually uploading the individual or multiple files. So this time I'm going to go into my 2022 folder and I'm going to go into tutorials. So I'm going to go where it says upload, and this time instead of choosing files, I'm going to choose folder. The reason for this is if you try to choose files but then select a folder, it won't work. It won't allow you to upload that folder. It only lets you go inside the folder. If I go to folder this time, then choose the folder I want to upload. So let's say we want to upload this PowerPoint one. I'm then going to click upload. If I want to upload one of the inner folders, I select the folder, because if I was to upload this one, it's going to upload this folder and all of these subfolders, as well as this one and all of these subfolders. So I'm going to choose exercise files, and I want it to upload each of these 4 subfolders within the exercise files folder. So for now, I'm going to click upload, and it will say, are you sure? Because there's quite a lot of files here. I'm going to say upload, and now we're going to have exercise files created within here. And inside that particular folder, once they have uploaded, we will have individual folders for videos and for slide templates, which contain individual videos and other files. Now, if at any point you want to cancel any of these uploads, you can click on the cross, and that will stop those particular files or folders and subfiles from uploading. So if I don't want this DS Store one to upload, I'll just click on the cross and that will cancel that. So you'll see here we've done 28 megabytes of 34. I'll just leave it for now, and in a little second that will have finished uploading. If I go into the exercise files folder, then we should inside here be able to see the folders that it contained. So we have videos and we've got slide templates. When I go into videos, we can see a couple of different videos in here. So it's just running through the last few. Again, I'll go back to exercise files, back to tutorials, and the files that were contained within there, or the folders, have now been uploaded. At this point, we have a folder called exercise files, and I actually wanted that to be called PowerPoint. So how can I change that? Well, what we can do is we can go to any folder or file and highlight it with the 3 dots, which is called Show Actions, and you can use the rename option in here. So instead of this being called Exercise Files, I'm going to call it Microsoft PowerPoint, and then click Rename. So now you'll see that the name of the folder has changed. If I go into this folder, and let's say we've got a video here, if this one's not going to be called Volcano, or we want to take out the numbers, same thing as before, I click on the 3 dots and I go to rename, delete the extra text and then rename, and it will have renamed it for me. Again, it's told me that I've made a change less than a minute ago. So that's a little bit about uploading files and folders to your OneDrive library. Now that we've done that, let's take a look at how you can manage those files and folders within your library. Now, in the last section of this tutorial, we looked at how to upload files and folders, and within there, I showed you quickly how to rename a particular file or folder. Let's now take a look at how we can move content from one area to another, or how we can copy content to another part of your library. So I'm going to go into my 2022 folder, I'm going to go into tutorials, and I'm going to go into Microsoft PowerPoint. Now inside here, I would actually rather have another folder called exercise files, and I want to move these 2 folders into that folder, and then perhaps make another one which has something like speaker notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to New and Folder, and I'm going to call this one Exercise Files, and click Create. And what I want to do is I want to move these two folders inside this one. So how do I do that? Well, first of all, we've got two options. We can either move or we can copy. Now let's explore how to move a folder into another folder. So I don't want to move them both because I'm going to copy one into this folder and I'm going to move the other one. So first of all, to move this particular folder in just this folder, I'm going to go to the three dots for Show Actions and go to Move To. Move To will take it from its current location and move it into a new location. Copy To will keep it in its current location but copy it to another location too. So I'm going to go Move To, and then it's going to say, okay, where do you want to move this particular folder and its sub-content to? Well, I want to move it into exercise files. So I'm going to open exercise files from here. Now at this point, if I want to create a subfolder within there to put it inside, I have the option up here to create another folder. This would just generate a folder within exercise files. I would then go into that folder and choose Move Here. But for this moment in time, I'm just going to simply move that folder into exercise files. So I'll choose Move Here, and you will see that the video folder is going to move inside exercise file. So it has disappeared, and when I go to exercise files, the video folder will be visible inside here. Now it might take just a little second to load. Again, if I'm being impatient, I could refresh, but there it is there, and the videos inside have moved. If I go back to exercise files and then back to Microsoft PowerPoint, what do we want to do with this slide templates folder? Well, what I want to do is I want to copy it into exercise files. So instead of it being removed from here and going into here, it's actually going to stay here but get copied to here. So I'm going to go to the three dots and then choose Copy To. The other way you can do this is you can actually right click and choose Copy To, or you can check the folder and use Copy To up here. And you'll notice the other options are visible as well. So there's three different ways of doing the same thing in OneDrive. So I'm going to use, let's go for more actions and let's go for Copy To. Now all I need to do is open up the folder, and then I'm going to use Copy Here. So that slide templates folder and its sub-content is going to move into exercise files but remain here. So you'll see it's still here. If I go to exercise files, there is the slide templates folder in here. Now you may have noticed the folder appears different. So in here we've got this more list view, and then when we go into exercise files, we've now got this random folder view. You can change that up here. So where you see the four folders, this allows you to go into your view options and you can choose list, which is what we had before, or if you've got a lot of folders and files, you can switch it to compact list and it just tightens it up a little bit. But we'll go for list for now. And then within slide templates, you'll see we have the two templates here. Now one thing that's important to note is when you copy a folder or a file to another location, it is only copying it. It's not a live duplication which allows you to make changes to one which will be applied to the other. So if I was to delete these two presentations from here, they would still live within this slide templates area here. Okay, so you're copying it across, it's duplicating it, but when you make changes to one, it won't apply the changes to the other. One final thing to show you in this particular demonstration is how to delete a particular file or folder. So if you want to delete a file, you open the folder and you can right click, you can select, or you can choose See Actions, and then you can go to delete. So if I want to delete this particular presentation here, I go to the three dots and delete. Now it says, are you sure you want to delete? If I say delete, it will remove it. And it's going to put it in my recycle bin, which we'll come back to later on. If it's a full folder you want to delete, then you can go to three dots and delete, then delete. And it's going to delete that folder, but it will also delete any sub-content within there. So if you're deleting content, just make sure that you're selecting either the individual or multiple files, or deleting the full folder, but of course make sure that you do actually want to delete that content. Now that we've looked at how to manage our content within OneDrive, it's time to have a quick look at the Personal Vault. At the very beginning of this tutorial, I mentioned that we're going to look at the Personal Vault, and I also mentioned that it's basically a secure storage location within your OneDrive account that you require two-factor authentication to be able to get into. This is where you'd want to store any files that are maybe that little bit more sensitive than perhaps others that just live in your OneDrive library. So essentially for you or for anybody to be able to get access to your vault, they'll need to have your mobile and the code that is sent to your mobile phone. So that two-factor authentication gives it that extra layer of security. Now you cannot delete your Personal Vault. If you try to go to three dots and delete, you'll see that you're asked, rather than deleting it, to disable it. And you can go to settings here and disable it if you want to. But let's take a look at how it works. So I want to get into the Personal Vault, so I can either click on the three dots and unlock, or I can simply click on it here. It will then open another tab and it will ask me to send a text and enter the code that's sent to my phone in here to get access to it. So I'm going to click where it says text, and then I'm going to put in the last 4 digits of my phone number. Just like that. Now I'm going to click on the send code button and it will send a code to my mobile phone, and then I'm going to enter that code and click verify. Once the code has been entered, I'll now be able to get into my Personal Vault. So you'll see here it's listed and it's now got a little open safe icon. So when I click inside Personal Vault, it takes me in, and in here I can see any of the files that I have uploaded or put into here. So by default there won't be anything in here of course, but it works in just the same way as your other library. So from here you're able to create new content within here, and you can upload content. Now it tells you a little bit at the top, so it tells you that after 20 minutes of an activity it will automatically lock. It tells you what type of files you might want to upload, and it lets you know that you can actually move your files from other locations to here. So if I want to move some files from my normal library into here, I can go up where it says move from, and then I can locate the file. So let's say for example I want to move this image here into that location. I select the image, or I can select multiple files, and I choose move items. Now it's going to move those items from my normal document library into my Personal Vault. Now you'll see we've uploaded 3 files here, and we have actually reached our limit for our Personal Vault. So it's come up with a message to tell us that there is a 3 file limit. If we want to be able to store more files in here, we can go premium like we discussed earlier in this tutorial at a small cost per month. But if it's only the free version that you want to work with, it might be worth just keeping 1 or 2 files in here and keeping 1 slot free for any other files that you feel need to go into here. If you're wanting to go back to your main area, you can lock the vault by going up to the little vault icon up here and then choose lock. So you'll see now the vault has locked. If we want to be able to go back into it, all we do is click on it here and go to unlock, or go to 3 dots and unlock, and then follow the same process as we covered earlier. So really the Personal Vault, it's a nice little feature, but you don't get much of a benefit if you are a free user. But if you decide to buy extra storage or go for a premium Microsoft 365 account, then you will be able to store more files in there. But I think it works well for maybe just something a little bit more secure, such as a passport scan or a driver's license scan or something like that. Now, I really hope you are enjoying this particular OneDrive tutorial. If you are, remember to hit that like button, feel free to comment below, and of course if you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button. Now let's get back to this OneDrive tutorial for beginners. When it comes to sharing files and folders with others, using OneDrive or a cloud storage solution is incredibly powerful. Historically, if you wanted to share a presentation or a document with a user via email, you would attach that file to an email and send it out. However, the problem with that is that often the file could be too big to attach to an email because usually it's a relatively small file size limit for email attachments. Applications like OneDrive allow us to send either folders or files to users using a sharing link or by sending an email link to the user directly. And this means that we can send files as big as we want to those particular users. All they then do is either follow the link that you have sent them or follow the link in the email and download the file or folder using that link. So let me show you how to share files and folders within OneDrive. Now, I mentioned at the very beginning that everything we upload to OneDrive is private by default, so nobody else can see these files or folders. But if you want to share a file, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. First of all, I'm going to go into my tutorials folder here. I'll go into Microsoft PowerPoint, exercise files, videos, and I want to share a link to one of these videos. Now, similarly to when we worked with files earlier in this tutorial, you can either right click to get to the sharing options, you can go to the three dots to get to the sharing options, you can select the file and use the sharing options up here, or you can use this little share button here. So there's lots of different ways to do the same thing. I'm going to use the share button here. I find this the easiest way, and if you're just sharing one file, this is perfect. If it's multiple files, you might want to select multiple files like this and then use the share button at the top. But for here, we're just going to share this volcano video, so I'm going to click on share. But note under sharing, it is currently listed as private. I'll click on the share button and then it will ask me how I want to share this file. So you'll see at the top here it says send link, and it's got the name of the file and the format, and it tells me that anybody with the link can edit this file. Now, if this was a Word document, they would be able to get in and edit it. Of course, because it's a video, they're not going to be able to necessarily edit the video, but they can change things like the title and they can delete it if need be. So you've got to be quite careful when you're giving permissions to your files. If you want to change that, you'll see where it says anybody with this link can edit. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to say specific people. And what this allows me to do is then only let specific people who I have typed the email addresses of perform the action that's listed here. And you'll see in this case it says can edit, but I can actually change this to can view. What this would allow this user to do is to view the file, but they wouldn't be able to actually make any changes to it. This works particularly well for things like Microsoft Word documents or PowerPoint presentations, where if you're sharing with other users, you don't necessarily want them to be able to edit your copy of the file you're sending. So you can give them viewing rights and then they can download it and they can maybe save it locally on their computer, but they're not going to be able to make changes to the version you're actually sending them. Now you'll notice below here we can set a deadline or an expiry date for this file, but unfortunately we need to be a premium user to be able to do that. So for now I'm going to move it back to anyone with the link, but I'm going to make sure it says that it's can view. So they're going to be able to view the video, but they won't be able to make changes to it, to edit, to delete, etc. So I'll click apply here, and then what we can do is we can either type in their name or email address into here and a message, or just simply copy this link. So if I want to use this method, all I do is click copy. I then get a link here, so it tells me anybody with the link can view the file. I'll click copy, and then I would then distribute this to the people who I want to be able to view the file. This method works best for large groups of people, so I could maybe add it to a mailing list, or I could send it to 10 different people. If, for example, though, I want specific users, all I do is go to the share button, and then we use the specific people option, click apply, and you need to actually specify the people in here and then click send. So whatever email address you put in here, once you've typed your message, the person who's in this area here will receive the email and the message with a link to the file. Now, because earlier we clicked on the copy link button, we have essentially set up a sharing link to this file. It still shows as private at this moment in time. However, if I refresh my browser, you'll see it now changed to shared. And that's because a link to this has been shared. It doesn't mean that anybody has actually accessed it, but it does mean that it has been shared with some users. If I jump back to the folder that file lives in, It looks like the folder is private and perhaps its contents is private, but unfortunately it is the case that one of these files is currently being shared. So if you were back at the My Files level, how would you know which of your files have been shared with other users? Well, what you could do is you could go into Shared on the left hand side, and then you could go Shared by You, and it will show you the individual files or folders you have shared. And then from here, what you can do is you can select the file or multiple files, and you can change the sharing permissions by going to Manage Access. If I now go to Manage Access here, it says, okay, you can clear that link, or you can add extra people to be able to access this file. So I'm going to click on the cross here and then say remove link, and then if we refresh this page, it will no longer show as shared by you. And if I go back into files and then into the relevant folder, which is this one in here, you'll see that under videos they are both set to private. Now if you want to share a folder, just be mindful that not only the folder will be shared with the other people, but all of its sub-content such as subfolders and subfiles as well. So if I was to share this exercise file by going to the share button, and then just like before, I'm going to say anybody with a link can edit this time. So we'll give them editing rights. Click copy. Again, if I refresh this, you'll see it now shows the folder as being shared, but when we go into it, all of these subfolders are also shared, as are all of the subfiles. And if I upload a file to here, so let's just upload another presentation slide deck. So we've now got two versions of the second one there. I'll do keep both. You'll see that this recently uploaded presentation is also going to automatically become shared because the folder that it lives in has been shared with other users too. So it'll take a little second to come through, but basically the entire folder and all of its contents from the moment you share and in the future is now going to be shared like it has here. So in this case, again, if I want to change the permissions, I could do it at a file level by simply clicking where the file is on shared and then removing the link, which if I remove that link there, you'll see when I refresh that will go back to private. Or we could go into the main folder up here and we could have clicked on shared and then deleted the link from here. So all you have to do is select any file within the folder that has been shared and change it back to private, and that will do it for everything there. But the other way, and the best way in my opinion, is to go into shared, shared by you, and to manage access from here. Now that we have looked at sharing files and folders, let's take a look at how we can manage any files or folders that we have deleted in the recycle bin. So let's say, for example, I open up my 2022 folder and I want to delete two of these three folders and all of the content they each contain. Well, the easiest way to do this is to select the two folders using the selection options here and then simply choose delete. We'll then say we're sure we want to delete by clicking on the delete button, and those two folders will now be moved away from the My Files area to your recycle bin, and they'll live in here. Now, content inside your recycle bin can live there for 90 days. You'll see though, if we want to delete something from here, what we do is we select the file and then we click delete and then click delete. Now those files are now completely deleted. If you're working on OneDrive for Business, there is a second stage recycle bin that your content will go to and will live in. But in here, once you click delete, if you're using the free version, those files are going to be permanently deleted. You can empty your entire recycle bin by clicking on empty recycle bin, but just be mindful this will permanently delete all of those files. Now, if you want to reinstate any files which are living inside your recycle bin, you can select the file or the folder or multiple files and folders and simply choose restore. This will then move them from the recycle bin back into My Files. So in this case, it's going to move this folder and its sub-contents when I click restore. So if we click restore, I'll go back to My Files and you'll see the two folders have now reappeared inside My Files, and I can open them up and see these subfolders and the subfiles within those. It may be the case, like it is just now, where I'll have to select the folders and perhaps move them back to where they were, but at least this way we've taken them from the recycle bin and we've brought them back into our main library. Let's now take a look at how you can download your files should you perhaps want to close your OneDrive account or your email account, or just keep them on your computer. Now, over time, your OneDrive library might fill up fairly quickly, especially if you have a limit of only 5 GB if you're using a free account like I am and you haven't bought any additional storage. What you then might want to do is perhaps download the content from your library, keep it on your computer, and then be able to upload perhaps the current work that you're working on to your OneDrive library to keep it safe and secure. If you want to download your entire library, you're best to come back to the My Files area here, and then what you want to do is select the folders that you want to download. Now just remember, if it's your personal vault, then you'll need to go into your vault by unlocking it and download the files from in there. But for these folders, if I select the folders like this, I can then simply click on download. If it's an individual folder, I can go to the 3 dots and use the download option here, or I can right click and use download here. If it's an individual file you want to download, then simply locate that file and then use the 3 dots and download. An individual file will simply download to your computer, but if it's a folder, what will happen, or multiple folders, is it will create a zip folder containing those folders or files. So I'll now choose download, and you'll see at the bottom here, it'll take a little second, but it will create a zip folder containing these particular folders and all of the subfolders and files. Of course, the speed at which it downloads your library will depend on how many files and folders you've selected, your internet connection, and of course their size. So the bigger the files and the bigger the folders, the longer they will take to download. Once you have downloaded your zip folder, you can then right click on it and extract its contents. So you'll see here we've got the zip folders. I can right click down here and I can go to open with and archive utility, but on my computer it actually already unzips it for me. So if I open up OneDrive, you'll see I've got the files and folders here already for me to work with. They'll still remain in the OneDrive library because I've not deleted them, but that's how we can download our content, either individual or multiple files and folders, from OneDrive. So far in this video tutorial, we have been looking at the OneDrive web version or web client for managing our files and folders, but you might want to make use of the desktop version of OneDrive. Now this is available on Mac and on Windows computers. In this particular tutorial, I'm going to cover this using a Mac, but the principles and the way it works is pretty much the same. If you're looking for the Windows tutorial, there are plenty on the Microsoft website. But let's take a look at how you can get access to the app and how it works. So inside OneDrive, you can click on Get the OneDrive Apps at the bottom, and this will basically take you to a page for your operating system. So you'll see here you can put an email in and it will send you a link to download it, or you can basically click the download button from here. The other thing you can do is you can log into the Mac App Store and download the app from there. What will then happen is once you open it, you'll be asked to sign in with your account and to agree to terms and conditions, the usual sort of thing. I have already logged into mine, so I'm going to click on it up here because there's where it appears, and you'll see you get the OneDrive app here. Now, if you need to access your settings, you can go into the settings cog up here and you can set things like your preferences, you can upgrade if you need to, and you can get help or provide feedback. What happens though is every time you upload a file to OneDrive, in this version here, the web version, what will automatically happen is it will synchronize it with your desktop app, so it knows that the file has been uploaded and you can access it from your desktop. Likewise, if you want to add a file from your desktop to your OneDrive library, you can use this OneDrive app and it will automatically upload it. The crucial thing here is though that your files aren't actually stored on your computer. So although we have this desktop app here, we can only access the files if we download them. So it doesn't take up storage space on your computer, it's just a way for you to get to or to manage the files. So for example, if I want to then view the folder which is stored on my computer, which contains these essentially links to these files, I click open folder and then you will see the files are here, but I need to download them to be able to access them offline. So if I want to access any files within exercise files, what I first need to do is click on this little download button. It will then download the files contained within that folder, and I'll be able to access them. So for these ones here, if I download them, you'll notice that they contain slightly bigger files because they are PowerPoints and videos. So by clicking on that little cloud icon, it's then going to allow me to download and access these files offline. So this basically works like a normal Finder window, and it allows you to upload files to here, which then go into OneDrive, but it also allows you to access your folders and files from OneDrive by simply downloading them. But the great thing is that these files will not be downloaded onto your computer until you actually click on the download button. If we go back into here, you'll see that the video has now been downloaded and we can open it. If we go to view online, it will basically open up your OneDrive library. So the good thing here is if you don't have OneDrive open, let's say for example I've got it closed, I can open up my computer as normal, go to the OneDrive app and then click view online, which is going to take me into OneDrive just like this. So you can access your OneDrive library without really need to go to a browser in the first place. Also within here you'll see that you have your recycle bin. So you can access your recycle bin, and there's an option in here to go premium. The final thing to mention is if you wanted to add some files or folders to your OneDrive library, you can actually create them from within here. So I've gone to the dedicated OneDrive folder on my computer, which gets set up when you first install and run the app. I'm now going to go to new folder, and then I'm going to say this is, let's say 2023, stuff for next year. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to drag a file in. We'll put this picture in. You'll notice when you right click on any folders or files, there are some options here. So you can keep a file just on the device, you can free up space, you can share directly from here, or you can view online. But now if I go back into OneDrive and refresh in the browser version, you'll see that we have the 2023 folder I just created in the desktop app, and there is the file which I can open up from within here. So if you are used to working on your computer with files and folders and you find that a little bit easier, then it's definitely worth downloading and installing the desktop app and then basically controlling your content from here. But just be mindful, it isn't actually going to save the files to your computer. It gives you links to them, but you'll need to click on the cloud to download that folder and files to your computer to be able to access them offline. In the previous section of this tutorial, we took a look at the OneDrive desktop app that is available on either Mac or Windows computers, and we looked at how we can manage our OneDrive library from there. You can also get a mobile app for Android or iOS devices that works basically in the same way, and that's for OneDrive. In this example on screen, I have the OneDrive iOS app, so I've downloaded this from the iOS Apple Store, and basically I have logged in. And you'll see here on screen I can access my files and folders in the same way as I could on the desktop app. So for example, I can go into this 2022 folder by tapping on it. That will take me inside, and I can see any subfolders and any files from in here. And we can select content to view it, we can delete it, we can download it onto our device or share it from here in the same way as we basically would with the desktop app. As well as that, there's an option here to automatically back up your photographs and videos from your phone. Now you'll see at the top, I haven't turned this one on, but basically anytime you take a new photo or video, it can synchronize with the app and upload them from your camera roll into your library. The problem I've got with this is if I've only got 5 GB of storage, if I have it automatically uploading every video I capture or every photo I take, especially if I'm shooting like 4K videos, that 5 GB is going to be eaten up very, very quickly. So I prefer to leave this one off and manually upload myself. Now uploading's easy enough. You can click on the folder that you want the file to go into and then click on the plus button at the top. You'll see from here you still have the option to create Word documents, Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint. You can still create a new folder, but you can also upload files from in here. Another incredibly useful option in here is actually the scan option that you see at the top, which allows you to essentially take a photo or scan a document and upload that to your library. So you can either take a photo or a video, or you can upload one from your phone. But if you're looking to be able to manage your OneDrive library from either your desktop computer or your mobile, then the desktop app I previously discussed and this mobile app are both very, very useful. And as I mentioned, they allow you to share content with other users from your library, or still view content that other people have shared with you. So there you have it, a complete beginner's guide to OneDrive. Hopefully you have found this video useful. We've taken a look at what OneDrive is, how to access it, and everything that basically you can do with the free version of Microsoft OneDrive. As well as that, we also took a look at the web and the mobile apps, so there's lots of different options for you to work with your files and access them essentially anywhere in the world. Even if you are an experienced user, as I mentioned at the beginning of this tutorial, I hope that you have learned something new from watching this. Thanks again for watching. Remember to hit that like button if you found this video useful. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button to support the channel. And if you have any comments or feedback, please do pop it into the comments area below. If you're thinking about further learning, why not take a look at this playlist that I have up here, which will help you take your learning to the next level. Thanks again for watching.